Queens, New York is a wonderful fusion of exotic people, cuisines, and cultures. Look around you and step cautiously. Be aware and very conscious of where you are, for you walk the streets of history. Yes, the streets of Queens were once the playground of many famous people. Sinatra and Tony Bennett, Cyndi Lauper and Satchmo Armstrong, Houdini and ruthless gangsters, whose names cannot be mentioned here. Yet, Queens, New York is also the place where people from all over the world live. Queens, New York is actually the most ethnically diverse place on the planet. So, join us as we explore this wondrous place with the Queen's Digest magazine. Let's meet and learn about these people, where they come from, and who they are.
The Railways of Guyana, a journey through history. The country of Guyana sits on the northeastern coast of the South American continent but is culturally and historically part of the wider West Indies or Caribbean region. It is one of the founding members of CARICOM and currently the fastest growing economy in the region. It is also one of only 4 English-speaking countries in the Americas. The others are Belize, the USA and Canada. Not much is known about this small country, so let's take a look, shall we? Hi there and welcome to another episode of the Queen's Digest magazine. This is where we take a good look at the people who live in Queens, New York, who they are and where they come from. Queens, New York is a vibrant, exotic pulsating environment made up of hundreds of different cultures, languages, and cuisines. Take a look around you and recognize that you live in a place that is rife with stories of struggles and joys. History lives here and is made here. This is Queens, New York, the place so many from all around the world now call home, including people from Guyana. I am your host Ryan, and today we take a look at Guyana and the early days of railway travel in that country, so jump on board and let's go. Guyana's history would not be completely told without the mention of 2 significant public railways: the Demerara-Berbice Railway and the Demerara-Essequibo Railway. There were also several industrial railways established, primarily serving the bauxite industry, and we'll take a look at these as well. Remarkably, the Demerara-Berbice Railway held the distinction of being the oldest railway in South America when it was active. However, none of these railways are operational in the 21st century. The Demerara-Berbice Railway, constructed in what was then British Guiana, now Guyana, was the first railway system on the South American continent. Did you know that? Built to a standard gauge of 48.5 inches, it was initially operated by the Demerara Railway Company, a private entity, but was then sold to the Colonial Transport Department of the government on January 1, 1922. That railway system eventually spanned more than 97 kilometers or 60.5 miles along the country's Atlantic coast, connecting the capital and main port of Georgetown in Demerara to Rossignol in Berbice, Guyana's easternmost region. From Rossignol, a ferry steamer used to provide a connection across the Berbice River to the town of New Amsterdam. The proposal for the construction of this railway was approved in July 1846. The railway was then designed, surveyed, and built by the British-American architect and artist Frederick Catherwood. The railway's infrastructure, including stations, bridges, and other facilities, was constructed by John Bradshaw Sharples. The Demerara Sugar Company, a major player in the country's economy at that time, financed the project. The railway greatly facilitated the transportation of the company's products to the shipping docks in Georgetown for export to other countries. The railway between Demerara and Rossignol was built in sections. The first section from Georgetown to Pleasance, a village about 3 miles outside the city, was opened on November 3, 1848. Unfortunately, the opening day's celebrations were marred by the tragic death of one of the railway's directors, who was run over by a locomotive. Beginning in 1848, the railway operated 2 return trains per day between Georgetown and Pleasance. Subsequent extensions reached Belfield in 1854, Mahaica in 1864, and finally, Rossignol between 1897 and 1900. By 1922, there was 1 train each weekday between Georgetown and Rossignol, departing Georgetown at 8 a.m. and returning in the evening. By 1936, the Colonial Transport Department managed an impressive fleet, including 16 locomotives, 39 coaches, and 283 goods wagons. In 1948, the railway system in Bermuda was dismantled and sold, lock, stock and barrel, to the government of British Guiana and was used to rejuvenate the local railway system. The locomotives in British Guiana were fully restored, utilizing the equipment from Bermuda and then painted dark green. In that faraway, somewhat quaint Guiana countryside, locomotives were actually given distinctive names. The Mosquito, the Sandfly and the Firefly were acquired in 1847. The Alexandra and the Victoria arrived in 1863. The Sir Wilfrid and the Sir Graham were then brought into service in 1924, and the Sir Gordon and the Sir John joined the fleet in 1946. By 1953, the public railway lines in the colony had transported almost 2 million passengers and just under 93,000 tons of freight. Although there was an ambitious plan to extend the railway south to Brazil, that plan never materialized. The Demerara-Berbice Railway included 3 major steel bridges, spanning the Mahaica, Maikoni, and Abari rivers. The railway owned 15 additional stations along its route between Georgetown and Rossignol. These were Bel Air, Pleasance, Better for Wacting, Buxton, Nomprel, Enmore, Golden Grove, Belfield, Clombrook, Mahaica, Dakindren, Maikoni, Belladrum, Litchfield, and Fort Wellington. Sadly, the Georgetown to Rossignol railway service was discontinued in 1972. Guyana's second railway, the Demerara-Essequibo Railway, operated on a 3 feet 6 inch gauge and stretched for 29.8 kilometers or 18.5 miles along the west coast of Demerara, from Vredenhoop on the Demerara River to Parika on the Essequibo River. The first section, from Vredenhoop to Greenwich Park, was laid around 1899. The line was extended to Parika in 1914. By 1922, 3 return trains operated daily, timed to connect with steam ferries on the Demerara River at Vredenhoop and Parika on the Essequibo River. This railway service was discontinued in 1974. But by then, the Demerara-Essequibo line had 8 stations between the city and the end of the line at Parika. These were Vredenhoop, Windsor Forest, Hague, Leonora, Eiflucht, Dakinderen, Tushen, Virginugen, Greenwich Park and Parika. Additionally, minor stops, known as platforms, were located between the stations, including Crane, Blankenberg, Denham's Tell, Cornelia Ida, Stewartville, De Willem, and Farm. The line also featured a steel bridge across the Borosiri River. The public railway system in Guyana was gradually dismantled under President Forbes Burnham and totally ceased operations in 1972. The main Lamaha Street terminus of the Demerara-Berbice Railway was subsequently converted into a bus terminal. Even after the public railway system ceased operations, industrial railways continued to function, particularly at bauxite mining sites and along the route linking Port Kaituma and Matthews Ridge in the Northwest District. In 1897, a 29.8-kilometre, 18.5 miles, industrial railway was constructed between Rockstone and Wismar, now Linden, providing access to gold fields, Ballater, and hardwood plantations. By 1936, this system included 14 locomotives and 272 goods wagons. This service was closed in the 1940s. This detailed account of Guyana's railway stations and rolling stock highlights the rich history and significant infrastructure that once played a crucial role in the country's transportation network. This rich history of Guyana's railways reflects a bygone era of innovation and connectivity, which left behind a legacy that continues to fascinate. There are not many who can recall the existence of these 2 railways. How about you? Do you remember them? Did you ever ride the trains in Guyana? Let us know in the comments below. This has been another episode of the Queen's Digest magazine, where we explore the rich diversity of our neighborhoods. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Please do share our videos with all your friends and associates. You might want to consider subscribing to our channel if you haven't already done so. Thank you for spending some time with us today, and we look forward to your company once again on the next episode of the Queen's Digest magazine. Goodbye for now.